Most folks think a hen that's gone quiet and stopped laying has just gotten old, or caught a chill, or turned mean. But after 40 years working my own ground, I'll tell you the first thing I'd check, and it's the thing almost nobody checks: go out to that coop after dark with a flashlight and look in the cracks. Because more times than I can count, the trouble wasn't age or weather. It was mites. Tiny things, smaller than a pinhead, crawling out at night to feed on your birds and slipping back into the woodwork by morning so you never see them in daylight. I've cleared them out of my coops with 3 cheap things and no poison near the eggs, and that's exactly what I want to walk you through. Let me start with the one that does the most quiet damage, because if you understand this one, the rest makes sense. The red mite, some folks call it the roost mite, doesn't live on the bird. That's the trick of it, and that's why people miss it. It lives in the coop, down in the cracks of the roost, in the seams of the nest boxes, under the lip of anything wood. It comes out only in the dark, climbs onto the hen while she sleeps, drinks its fill of blood, and is gone back into the wood before sunup. So you can look at your bird in broad daylight, part her feathers, see nothing, and swear she's clean while every night she's being bled a little at a time. A bad infestation will turn a strong layer pale in the comb, drop her off the nest, make her dread the coop at night, and in the worst cases bleed a young bird right down to death. That's not me being dramatic. That's just what a few thousand of them will do. So here's how you find them, and it costs nothing. After full dark, take a flashlight and a white paper towel or a bit of white rag, and run it along the underside of the roost bar and into the cracks where the wood meets. If you've got red mite, you'll see little specks moving, and when you crush them on that white cloth, some will leave a rust-red smear that's your own hen's blood. That smear is how you know for certain. Do it at night, because in the daytime they're hidden and you'll find nothing and wrongly call the coop clean. Check the ends of the roost first. Where it sits in the bracket, that's their favorite hiding spot, right where 2 pieces of wood meet. Old-timers always said a roost is the first place trouble bunks down, and on this they were dead right. Now, to the fixing, and the first tool is the one you've probably already heard of: food-grade diatomaceous earth. I want to be careful and plain about it because there's a lot of loose talk about this powder. It is not a poison. It's the fossilized remains of tiny water creatures ground to a fine dust, and under a microscope, every speck is sharp as broken glass. It doesn't kill the mite with chemistry. It kills it by scratching through that waxy shell so the bug dries out and dies. Dry is the whole game with it, and that's also its limit, which I'll come back to. You want the food grade kind, the bag that says food grade plain on it, never the pool filter kind, which is treated different and is not safe to breathe or have near your birds. A $15 or $20 bag of food grade will last a small flock a year or more. Here's how I use it and how I'd have you use it. Strip the coop first, pull the old bedding, and if you've got an active infestation, burn it or bag it and haul it well away. Don't just toss it by the run where they'll crawl back. Then take that diatomaceous earth and work it into every crack and seam where you found the mites. The cracks are the key. Don't just dust the floor and call it done. Get it into the ends of the roost, the corners of the nest boxes, the seams of the wood, anywhere 2 pieces meet, because that's where they live. A puffer bottle, even an old ketchup squeeze bottle, lets you blow it down into the tight spots. Dust the roost top and bottom, dust the nest boxes, dust the floor, and put fresh clean bedding back over a light layer of it. Wear a dust mask while you do it. It's sharp on your lungs, the same as it's sharp on theirs, and you don't want to breathe a cloud of it. Keep the birds out till the dust settles. That's the bones of it. But here's the honest limit, and this is the wedge that separates doing it right from doing it like the internet tells you. Diatomaceous earth only works dry. The minute it gets damp, a humid week, a leaky roof, a sweaty corner of the coop, it clumps up and stops cutting, and the mites carry right on. So in a wet climate or a damp season, you can't lean on the powder alone. You have to fix the damp first, get air moving through that coop, patch the leak, and keep the bedding dry, or you're dusting for nothing. I learned that the hard way one wet spring, dusted faithfully every week, and couldn't figure why the mites kept coming until I realized the powder in the damp end of the coop had turned to paste. Air it out, dry it up, then the powder earns its keep. Anybody who tells you to just throw diatomaceous earth at it and walk away has never fought a real infestation in a wet July. The second tool costs you nothing at all, and it's the one the birds will do for you if you let them the dust bath. A chicken's natural defense against every kind of skin parasite is to dig a hollow in dry dirt and throw it up through her feathers, and that dust smothers and scours the bugs that try to live on her body. The lice and the northern fowl mite, the kind that does live on the bird, unlike the red mite, those she can largely keep down herself with a good dust bath. So give her one. A low tub, an old tire, a corner box filled with dry, loose dirt, a bit of sand to keep it loose, and some wood ash from a clean wood fire, no painted wood, no charcoal briquette ash, just clean hardwood ash. Some folks mix a little of that food-grade powder in too, and that's fine in a dry bath. Keep it under cover so the rain doesn't turn it to mud. A hen with a good dry dust bath is a hen doing her own pest control for free every single day, and most coops don't give her the chance. Now, the third thing isn't a product at all. It's a rhythm, and it's the part that actually keeps them gone. Mites breed fast in warm weather. A red mite can go from egg to biting adult in about a week. So a one-time clean-out knocks the grown ones down, but the eggs left in the cracks hatch out behind you, and in a couple weeks you're right back where you started, thinking it didn't work. It worked. You just stopped too soon. The answer is to go again clean and dust hard, then dust again about a week later to catch the ones that hatched, and a third time the week after that to break the cycle for good. 3 passes, a week apart, in the warm months. After that, a regular look in the cracks at night and a fresh dusting whenever you change bedding keeps a coop clean for the long haul. It's not a battle you win once, it's a habit you keep, like sweeping a floor. Let me set the dollars and cents out plain, because I always want to know what a thing actually costs. A bag of food-grade diatomaceous earth, $15 to $20, a year's supply for a small flock. A dust mask, a couple dollars. The dust bath, free dirt, sand, and ash you've already got. A puffer bottle, free if you save a squeeze bottle. So the whole campaign to clear a coop runs you under $20 and a couple Saturday afternoons against a vet bill or a stack of dead pullets on the other side. And none of it puts a chemical anywhere near the eggs your family's going to eat. That last part matters to me. A lot of the store-bought mite sprays carry a warning about egg withdrawal days you're supposed to throw the eggs out after you treat. The dry powder and dust bath way doesn't ask you to throw away a single egg. I'll tell you one more birdside problem while we're at it, because it's a cousin of this and folks mix it up. If you see a hen whose leg scales are lifting up, looking crusty and rough instead of smooth and flat, that's not the red mite, that's the scaly leg mite, and it burrows up under the scales of the legs and feet. The fix for that one is simple and old as the hills. Smother it. Coat those legs in plain petroleum jelly, or an old-timer's mix of a little oil, every few days. The grease seals the air off, and the burrowing mite dies under it. Gentle, cheap, no poison, and the scales smooth back down over the weeks as new ones grow in. Don't pick at the crusts. Don't force the old scales off. Just keep the legs greased and let the bird heal at her own pace. Let me help you tell the two main mites apart, because the treatment leans different and folks waste weeks fighting the wrong one. The red mite, like I said, lives in the coop and only visits the bird at night, so you find it in the cracks, not on the hen, and you confirm it with that flashlight check after dark. The northern fowl mite is the other common one, and it does the opposite. It lives its whole life right on the bird, mostly around the vent and the tail where it's warm. So for that one, you check in the daytime in your hand by turning the hen over and parting the feathers around her back end. If you see dirty, crusty buildup down at the base of the feathers and little dark specks crawling on the skin, that's northern fowl mite. The dust bath and a direct dusting of the bird herself, a little food-grade powder, work gently into the feathers around the vent, mask on, away from her eyes, and beak handles that one, because the bug is on the bird where the powder can reach it. The red mite you fight in the coop, the fowl mite you fight on the bird. Same cheap tools, different target. Knowing which you've got saves you a month of dusting the wrong place. There's a calendar to this that makes the whole thing easier, and it's worth setting in your head by season. Mites explode in warm weather and go near dormant in the cold, so your real fighting season is late spring through early fall. I do a hard clean and dust of the whole coop in early spring before the weather warms and the breeding starts that knocks down whatever overwintered in the cracks before it can multiply. Through the warm months, I check the roost ends every couple weeks at night and dust again any time I see a speck. Come the first hard frost, the pressure drops right off and I can ease up till spring. If you tie the big clean out to a date, you'll remember, say, the same week you start your garden, you'll never get blindsided by a summer infestation again because you headed it off before it began. An ounce of looking in spring saves a pound of fighting in July. Let me save you from the mistakes I see folks make, because they're the same few every time. First, don't reach for bleach in the coop thinking it kills mites. It doesn't do much to them. It's harsh on the bird's lungs in that closed space, and it's a waste. Plain cleaning, drying, and dusting beats it. Second, don't bring a new bird straight into your clean flock without a good look over and a few weeks apart. The most common way a clean coop gets infested is a hen bought at a swap or an auction who carried the mites in on her own body. Quarantine a new bird, check her vent and her legs, and dust her before she ever meets your flock. Third, don't confuse the food-grade powder with the kind sold for swimming pool filters. The pool kind is heat-treated into a different form that's genuinely dangerous to breathe and has no business near living things. Food-grade every time, and read the bag. And fourth, don't quit after one cleaning. I'll say it again because it's the mistake that undoes all the rest. The eggs in the cracks hatch behind you, so it's 3 passes a week apart or you've only knocked them back, not out. Here's the part I most want you to carry away, and it's not about any one powder. It's that a clean, dry, well-aired coop is the real cure, and everything else is just cleanup after you let it get away from you. Mites don't take hold in a coop that's dry, that gets sunlight and moving air, that gets its bedding changed and its cracks looked at. They take hold in the damp, dark, crowded, never cleaned corner. So if you fix the coop, fewer cracks for them to hide in, dry bedding, good airflow, room enough that the birds aren't packed in, you've taken away the house they live in, and the powder becomes a touch-up instead of a war. Build the conditions right, and you're not fighting mites every month. You're just keeping an eye out. A welfare word, plain and serious. A bird carrying a heavy mite load is a bird in real misery and real danger, and a young or sickly bird can be bled down faster than you'd believe. So don't dawdle once you've confirmed it. And if a bird is already pale, weak, off her feet, that's past the point where powder alone will save her. Get her separated, warm, well-fed and watered, and ring your local extension office or a poultry vet for what your particular case needs. I can tell you the method that's worked on my ground for 40 years, but I can't see your bird, and the conditions and the mite species vary by where you farm. The dry powder, dust bath, 3-pass rhythm is the gentle backbone of it. A bird in crisis needs eyes on her. Let me put a number on what mites actually cost you, because it's bigger than most folks reckon. A hen fighting a heavy load doesn't just lay a little less, she can stop near cold, because a bird being bled and kept awake every night puts what little she's got into staying alive, not into making eggs. Say a good layer that ought to give you 5 or 6 eggs a week drops to 1 or 2 through a bad summer infestation. Across a dozen hens, that's 3-4 dozen eggs a month gone. Call it a season's worth of eggs you paid feed for and never got, plus the birds run down and some may be lost. Against that, a $20 bag of powder and 3 Saturdays is the cheapest insurance on the place. Pests are a faucet draining your flock, and most folks never think to turn it off until the birds are already pale. And here's how you'll know it's working, so you're not guessing. About a week to 10 days after you clear them out, watch the combs. A bird that was pale from blood loss will start to pink back up as she recovers, and that's your sign the bleeding stopped. She'll go back to roosting easy at night instead of dreading the coop, and within 2 or 3 weeks the lay rate climbs back toward where it ought to be. Keep up the night checks with the white cloth. When you run it along the roost and it comes back clean, with no rust smear, 3 checks in a row, you've broken the cycle. That clean cloth is your finish line. Don't let it tempt you into quitting the habit, though a quick look whenever you change the bedding is what keeps you from ever fighting a full war again. Let me walk it all back through, the way I do it on a bad mite Saturday. After dark, flashlight and white cloth, check the roost ends and the cracks, find them. Confirm the rust-red smear. Strip the coop and haul the old bedding well off. Work food-grade diatomaceous earth deep into every crack, seam, roost end, and nest corner. Mask on, birds out, fresh, dry bedding back. Set up a covered dry dust bath of dirt, sand, and clean wood ash and let the hens do their daily part. Then dust again at 1 week and 2 weeks to break the hatch cycle. Fix the damp, open the airflow, and keep looking in the cracks at night through the warm season. 3 cheap things and a steady habit, and no poison near the eggs. The old way of keeping a flock clean was never a sprayer and a warning label. It was dry dirt, wood ash, clean bedding, and a farmer who looked closely and didn't let the corners go. Nothing here is new. It's just been forgotten, and it still holds. Look after the coop, and the coop looks after the birds. If a calmer, simpler way of keeping a healthy little flock is what you're after, stay with me. I put out plain, practical farming like this every week. I'm glad you found your way here. Now go grab a flashlight tonight and have a look in those cracks. You might be surprised what's been hiding from you in plain sight.